let you know about proper rules when using the VR headset. This is the proper way to greet a fellow VR player while they are playing a VR game.
Hey Nate, I brought beer.
And here is the improper way to greet a fellow VR player when they are playing a VR game. Shit! Oh, what the fuck is wrong with you, Sammy? You trying to give me a fucking heart attack? I think I just shit out my heart. So remember, when you and your friends are using the VR headset, no one wants to be a screaming Sammy. So when playing your VR system, please follow these easy steps for proper VR etiquette. Hello everybody, it's me, Nate, aka Devil Dog, and I'm back with another game review. This time I'm reviewing the just released The Inpatient. It was developed by Supermassive Games and published by Sony Interactive Entertainment, and was released on January 23rd of 2018 for the PlayStation VR system. It is a single-player survival horror VR experience set in the Untill Dawn universe. Now, the overall gameplay consists of you playing as a character that is suffering from severe amnesia while inside the Blackwoods Sanatorium. This game acts almost like a prequel taking place 60 years prior to the events that happened in the game Until Dawn. And unlike most VR titles, you have a fully modeled body that you can look down on. Now, as you progress through your adventure trying to reclaim your memories, you can talk to NPCs who react to your voice by the use of voice recognition. Now, this is done very simply by giving you two choices, and you have to say the choices. Now, you don't have to do that as well. You could either choose one, or you can just click on it. So if you don't want to use the voice recognition, you don't have to, because sometimes it is a little spotty, but for the most part I haven't had any problems with it recognizing what I say. Now, the story, much like Until Dawn's, will change based on your decisions that you make throughout this adventure. It does have the butterfly effect in full system, and the game goes the route more like Hellblade in use of three-dimensional binaural audio to create a psychological horror aspect along with jump scares, but there are not really that many jump scares. It's mostly with sound effects and just overall dread feeling through this game. The overall game has a rather deep backstory, including very vivid flashbacks that help you figure out the conspiracy, why you're there in the overall sanatorium's purpose, and all that as you go through. Now, the game itself, I found, is actually pretty good, but it is rather slow. Your movement is very, very slow. You cannot actually go any faster than almost at a snail's pace. There are options to change the ability to move at the beginning, but it's normally just like in increments of 20 to 30 degrees at a time, or you can have full movement. Now, it does use both the Move controllers, and you can also use the regular PlayStation 4 controller. Now, the Move, while it has a lot better tactile sensation, since you can control both your guys' hands, it does seem to have a little bit more wonkiness to it. The hands will glitch out a lot of times. They'll get hung up on the geometry of the game world, but all in all, I actually found it more enjoyable playing with the actual PlayStation controller, because even though you don't have the same overall feeling of immersion with the controller as you do the Move controllers, overall it was a lot less glitchy with the regular PS4 controller. cover. Now, you do have a use of a flashlight as you go through your adventure, and like I said, the voice recognition is basically choices on screen, but it really does add into some really interesting sort of diversions as you go through it. Now, this game does have a very large day one patch. In fact, I think it's almost roughly the same size as the game itself. It's like 10 gigabytes, and this will have bug fixes and improvements to the overall game as you go through it. Now, this game has had lots of delays, and really I'm not seeing why. I don't understand why, because graphically for a VR game, it is a pretty big difference in terms of just the overall graphical fidelity with this title. You know, I'm really not that sure exactly why this game had so many delays to it, possibly over than the graphical glitches. I mean, you do have a fully modeled body, which is kind of cool, but they did that in Untill Dawn Rush of Blood, so I don't really see the big deal with it. I do like having a fully modeled body compared to just floating hands. It does add to the immersion factor. Now, keep in mind, this game is very short. It will only take you about 2 hours to get through it from start to finish, and the first half of it is really kind of you just starving to death, and it's not until the halfway point when things start picking up and it really gets into a lot of the dread aspects with it. And if you've ever played Until Dawn, then you'll know what I'm talking about, because this fleshes out a lot of the backstory behind what happened in Until Dawn early on with the miners and the Wendigos, which is pretty damn cool. And at the price point of $39.99, it is $40 for this game. Overly, that's not a bad price, but for only a 2-hour experience, I would say this would be a better price game at like $29.99. But the sheer fact of the just the veritable cornucopia of the variety in terms of the overall game and its aspects of the story and how it changes as you go through with the butterfly effect does allow for a lot of replayability, and also going back through to try to find all over 20 of the missing memories to fill in what happened with your character, why you're there in the first place, and what's really going down. Hands down, it is a very slow game, like I said, but if you can get past the fact of its very slow pacing, its very slow moving character, the very slow start, but once it gets going, it is still slow paced. It is a very slow paced game, but it does one of the few things I can say with a good VR experience. It actually adds to the overall character and the dread feeling that you have as you progress through this title. Hands down, I would actually say if you do have a PlayStation VR, it is worth picking up. I would say probably wait until there's a sale price on it. I think $40 for a 2-hour game, even though it does have a lot of replayability, is still kind of on the high side. But if you do have a PlayStation VR, this is definitely a game worth picking up just for some of the sheer jump scares and some of the really good psychological horror aspects of it. All in all, there were several parts that did scare the living hell out of me. There were parts where I did feel dread throughout it, and it is a pretty interesting story throughout. This was Nate, aka Devil Dog, and I want to say thank you for everyone who subscribes to my channel. I want to say thank you for everyone who watches this video. Please leave a comment below if you plan on playing this game, or if you've never played a PlayStation VR, and of course also let me know any sort of movies, games, or anything else you'd like to see me review in the future. Remember as well, I am still having my contest going on right now where you can win $1,000. All you have to do is go to the video, watch the video, and try to find some of the differences, and you'll automatically be entered. And I always end my videos by saying, have fun, play hard, and remember, people, the devil is in the details. Peace out.